Before that study and other studies, we used to think, oh, well, you can't identify that early on. You have to wait until they're like 5th or 6th grade. And that showed, no, you don't have to wait. You can start early, and the earlier, the better.
Welcome to the University of Wyoming College of Education podcast. I'm here with Marisa Macy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marisa Macy, and I am the John P. L. Bogan Foundation Professor of Early Childhood Education. At the University of Wyoming, I teach, I do research, and I do different things related to service and outreach.
What kind of things were you teaching when you started?
I got my first full-time teaching job as a special education teacher at the middle school level. I taught in a resource room setting where middle school students came to me for math, reading, language arts, and then 2 hours a day I taught children that had more intense needs and supports with a life skills curriculum.
I want to talk about special education a little bit. Back in the day, people thought that, kids with disabilities or special needs, like education wouldn't even benefit them. How have you seen special education kind of change lives of these kids?
I think that's a really great question, because in special education, one of the organizing principles behind the law and legislation and policies is that a child has an individualized education plan. We're looking at one child and what that one child needs, and we create a plan. And it's a team approach, and it's family-centered, and the child's parents and family members are part of the team. And I think that that's what makes it unique. And the plan is good for 1 year. It's a 12-month document that the team creates. And all along the way, the family members and the parents are getting progress reports on how the child is doing on their individualized education plan goals and objectives. And so it's looking at what the child needs, but also what the child's strengths are. And so using a strengths-based approach and understanding each child individually, I think that is one of the hallmarks of special education that we have the privilege to get to do with each child and their family. When I was a new teacher, my principal asked me to coach the girls' JV soccer team. And at the time, I had so many things going on with my first year teaching. And I also am not a very good soccer player myself. And I said, are you sure you want me? And I know the basic rules of the sport, and I could, supervise, but I'm not a good soccer player. And my principal was like, well, you really should think about it, because if you are out there on the soccer field as the coach, it's a great way to be able to learn all the kids in the school, not just the students that are in your resource room that you're teaching. And so I signed up to be the coach of the girls' JV soccer team. And it ended up being a great experience for myself, because I ended up having a child who she had a visual impairment, and she was going blind, and she also had cerebral palsy. And this was a 7th grade student. And the mom said that the student always wanted to be on a soccer team, but she never felt comfortable having her join a sport. But with me as the coach, she allowed her child to come and play soccer. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. I was in the right place at the right time that I could support that student. She was able to play soccer.
What are some misconceptions maybe that people might have about special education? What are some things that you think people might not realize about it?
People might not realize how much fun it is to teach. Another thing people might not know is that research can inform practices. One of the areas that I do research in is assessment. And over the years, we've learned a lot about assessment and positive, good ways to gather information. For example, one of the things that people might not know is that we can identify special needs in the early years. In the 1990s, there were some really exciting research studies that showed that you could do early identification and be able to detect early on that a child might have special needs or diverse abilities, and ways that we can support children and help them learn and develop their skills. And these studies, one of them was called First Birthdays. A researcher at the University of Washington, her name was Geraldine Dawson, she had people from all over the country send in their child's first birthday tapes. And she trained researchers at her university to code the tapes. And what they were able to show is that even at 12 months old, at the child's first birthday, that we can do early identification of the child's special needs. Because before that study and other studies, we used to think, oh, well, you can't identify that early on. You have to wait until they're like 5th or 6th grade. And that showed, no, you don't have to wait. You can start early, and the earlier the better.
So what are some of the benefits if you start a child early on with some of these things as opposed to waiting?
Well, for each child, it'll be different. And it depends on the area of exceptionality or ability. It also depends on the age. And so to answer your question, Max, it kind of depends on the child. Each child's unique and develops at their own pace. And there's this idea that if we can support the child and the family in the early years, that it has so many benefits. And by the time they get to kindergarten, some of them might not need specialized strategies or intervention or early childhood special education. That if we are able to get in early, support the child and the family, that has huge benefits and return on investment for the child, the family, and the community.